Farmweek is a production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, we'll catch you up on how the election will affect the House and Senate Agriculture committees.
We'll have highlights from the Mid-South Forestry Equipment Show.
In Southern Gardening, Gary Bachman will have two great pansy lines to recommend to us.
In the markets, high corn prices lead to the shutdown of a Vicksburg ethanol plant. While catfish processing and feed trends move downward, John Michael Riley has analysis.
In the feature segment, they're called rodeo queens, but don't jump to any conclusions. These young women represent agriculture wherever they go.
So we've really seen the impact of agriculture in every area, not just the cattle and horse industry, because it truly is astonishing that only 2% of our country feeds the remaining 98%. I spent the year traveling throughout our country representing our rich agriculture history here, as well as the Western way of life.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Artis Ford. Welcome to Farm Week.
Now that the elections are over, the Congress has to get back to work.
Well, Leighton, since the Democrats maintain control of the U.S. Senate and the Republicans the U.S. House of Representatives, there will be no wholesale changes in major agricultural players. On the Senate side, Agriculture Committee Chairman and Democrat Debbie Stabenow was reelected to her third term. She will remain chairman. Two Democratic members of the Senate Ag Committee did not seek re-election. One was Benjamin Nelson of Nebraska and the very influential Kent Conrad of North Dakota. On the Republican side, Richard Lugar is leaving the Senate after losing his Republican primary. Lugar is a major agricultural policy player, having once served as committee chairman. Mississippi Senator Thad Cochran will remain a committee member. On the House side, little change is expected there. Republican Frank Lucas of Oklahoma was reelected and will remain House Ag Committee Chair. Turning to Agriculture Secretary, will Tom Vilsack continue to serve in that role under President Obama? The National Journal Online reported Tuesday that there's a strong possibility that Obama might ask the retiring Conrad to be Agriculture Secretary. Some rumors say the Obama administration may be leaning toward Conrad, feeling he could work better with the Congress, having served in it. Vilsack has not served in the Congress. He is a former governor of Iowa.
The Mid-South Forestry Equipment Show is the largest show of its kind in the South. Every 2 years, the state's logging industry comes together to see the latest in equipment. Activities and fun contests are available for folks of all ages, and professional loggers can even obtain continuing education credits. The event is a joint effort between Mississippi State University, the Mississippi Loggers Association, the Mississippi Forestry Association, and Hatton Brown Publishers Incorporated. Farm Week's Amy Taylor has a report.
Those who come to the Mid-South Forestry Equipment Show near Starkville say it's difficult to attend without learning something. Show manager Misty Booth says the goal is to reach as many people as possible.
It's not just a trade show or an industry event. It is open to the public, and as Mississippians, I think it would be something you'd be really interested in. Our forest resource is really important to our state. $21.9 billion industry in our state, and very important to our economy. We have more tree farms in our state than in any other state in the nation, so we're really leaders in this industry, and I think a lot of people who may not be familiar with the industry in our state would enjoy coming out.
To generate more interest, Booth says the show changed things up a little by re-adding the loader contest, offering $500 for first place. As for educational activities, John Owl with Mississippi State University Extension Service Professional Logging Manager Program talks about obtaining SFI certification credits.
Most of the forest product companies in the state have agreed to be SFI certified, or Sustainable Forestry Initiative. And one of the requirements for Sustainable Forestry Initiative certification is to use qualified suppliers, and this is the state qualification program for that certification. To maintain your qualification, a logger needs to earn 12 hours every 2 years. And it just so happens we have this show every 2 years, and if they go both days to the show, they can earn all 12 hours they need.
Additionally, SFI certified loggers get a sales tax break on logging related equipment, which for a $225,000 machine can save several $1,000s. From Starkville, Mississippi, I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
Most gardeners want to have color all year round in the landscape. Well, in this week's Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman shows us two varieties of pansies that are real cool season show-offs.
If there's one bedding plant that just can't be beat in our cool season landscapes, it has to be the pansy. As a group, pansies are great for outstanding performance. The pansy series that has taken the landscape by storm are the matrix pansies, and they have quickly become one of the industry's leading cool season bedding plants. There is a wide range of colors available. Many have the traditional blotch, sometimes known as being faced. This is the dark coloration of the lower flower petals. A really attractive group of matrix flowers have the clear colors. These flowers don't have a blotch and really flash pure color. Another series of must-have pansies that are an oldie but goodie are known as Delta Fire. These plants feature brilliant yellow flowers with blotches that range in color from burgundy to rusty red and orange. These warm colors are unusual for pansies. Both of these pansies have great growth characteristics. The plants will grow to 8 inches tall and 10 inches wide. When mass planted, these pansies can be impressive in the landscape. Perhaps the most important characteristic of these sturdy plants are the short stems. This is good because the flowers are large and held high above the foliage. Plus, the plants also freely branch, and this means even more flowers to enjoy. The short, sturdy stems resist stretching, which means the plants will look good long after the days begin warming up in the spring season. Matrix and Delta Fire pansies will give you non-stop color to get you through those winter months. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Leighton, Gary says that pansies were first bred in England in the early 1800s, so they've been around a while. In the feature segment, they're called rodeo queens, but there's more to these young women than their looks. Time now for the markets with Leighton. And Leighton, you say a Mississippi ethanol producer is losing money?
That's right, Artis, and unfortunately the decision has been made to mothball the plant in question already. Also in the markets this week, very strong exports support soybeans. Sinking pond bank prices continue to threaten the catfish industry, as one analyst describes a favorable picture for farmgate milk prices. The Bunge Ergon Ethanol Plant located in Vicksburg is expected to cease operations by November 30th. Bloomberg News reports the decision is based on the poor margins involved in making the biofuel right now. Analysts at that news outlet estimate that ethanol producers are losing 30 cents per gallon based on December corn and ethanol futures contracts. A spokesman for Ergon says the Vicksburg plant can't produce 54 million gallons of ethanol annually and may be closed until next year. Monthly world supply and demand numbers from the USDA will be out by the time you see this program. Alan Brugler reports most analysts expect there will be a yield increase in the numbers for soybeans. In the meantime, Brugler says strong exports have been the big headline for the bean pit.
We've had over 60 million bushels each week for the last 2 weeks. The record's somewhere in the mid-70s, but very strong exports shipments, and we expect that to continue. Probably for the first 6 months of the year, we'll be up 40 to 50% over a year ago on exports. Again, that's a result of the drought that they had down in South America last growing season. And so the U.S. got all the business, and now it's got to be shipped. The big question here is whether the farmer will sell enough of the beans to the shipper. We're seeing some pretty strong basis bids, and the market's trying to buy that grain away from the farmer, but he's saying, well, it's down quite a bit from where it was in August, and I think I'll just wait. So a little firmness there.
Well, soybeans are also the subject of our trivia quiz this week. Let's take a look at it now. We're asking, where were soybeans first introduced as a row crop in the United States? The answer is either Georgia or Mississippi or Alabama or Tennessee? You'll find out in a few more minutes.
We're going to pause for a short break on Farm Week. Coming up, we'll look at the calendar and the second part of the markets. Leighton Span reports catfish processing and feed are trending downward. In the feature segment today, you'll meet two young women who represent Rodeo in Mississippi. You'll find out their titles will require more than beauty.
I've got a lot of choices to make in the coming years, and I really want to make sure that I get it all right. I want to discover who I am, where I belong, what my dreams are. I want to find my hidden talents and see where those skills can take me in the future. I need leadership given today to help me make the right decisions tomorrow. And I have that with Mississippi 4-H.
Now, before we get back to the markets, let's look at the Farm Week calendar. The Mississippi Fruit and Vegetable Growers and Mississippi Agritourism Conference and trade shows coming up at the end of the month. That's Wednesday and Thursday, November 28th and 29th. The location is the Hilton Hotel on County Line Road in Jackson. Registration fees do apply. Sessions there will be tailored to both produce growers and those with agritourism operations. A tomato grafting workshop along with a tasting reception featuring food grown by the participants will be included. The Mississippi Forage and Grazing Land Conference takes place Thursday and Friday, November 29th and 30th. Day one location in the afternoon will be at the Brown Loam Experiment Station of Mississippi State University at Raymond. The day two location is McKenzie Arena at Hines Community College, 7 Springs Road, Raymond. Using clover, native grasses, mineral supplementation, fire ant control, and how to use a 300-day grazing system are just a few of the items on the agenda. You do need to register by Monday, November 29th. Go to our Farm Week website at farmweek.msucares.com for information on these and other events. Now check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
The decline in the live fish price in the aquaculture sector continues to be a major concern to catfish producers. Extension economist Dr. John Michael Riley provided some analysis of this market on Thursday morning. John Michael, let's kind of summarize where we are as far as catfish right now.
Well, we've kind of reverse script here. Prices have been declining for the most part throughout 2012. Reached a peak about a year ago, August of 2011, and have since, they slowly started declining throughout the remainder of 2011, and they've really started dropping pretty fast here in 2012. They've lost about 45 cents a pound, which is roughly about 8.5% per month over the course of 2012. That's farm bank prices, and so that's not something anybody really wants to hear that's in the industry.
And the result of this, as we've talked before, we've seen fewer ponds in production for one thing, right?
Well, the drop in prices, I think, is more just an economic, general economy is not doing well. Catfish is one of those that's not a staple item that people, reach for, and as a result, demand has really backed off. Now, the good thing is that supply, as you mentioned, has dropped, and that was really what led to the price increase. But unfortunately, we've seen, even though sales have declined, continued to decline, prices have still dropped as a result of just weak demand.
Now, as far as at the pond bank, feeding is down, right, as far as since we've got fewer ponds. I mean, there's obviously fewer production in the pipeline.
That is true, but feed costs are still such a huge factor, and we saw feed prices just really ramp up throughout the summer as a result of the drought. It's much more significant as opposed to other livestock species because of the fact that they are heavily fed from the time they get into the pond till they leave. It's as John Anderson would always say, it's an underwater feedlot, and it makes up such a large percentage of the cost that I wouldn't be surprised if, as a result of the high feed prices, we don't continue to see a little bit more of a decline in terms of overall production numbers.
And far as wholesale prices, what restaurants, grocery stores pay, that has come down some, but not as dramatically as a pond bank price.
It has, and it's still dropping. So as these numbers continue to drop at the farm level, I wouldn't be surprised to see it drop up the supply chain.
In the dairy sector, it's firm prices for the milk market right now, not declining. Analyst Naomi Bloom says she expects a favorable picture for dairymen for a while longer.
The milk market right now has actually been more affected by cheese. The black barrel cheese price got up to a resistance area on charts near 208. If it can get through there, then it'll go upwards to about 214, which was the summer highs. And cheese demand has been strong lately, and of course we're heading into holiday season, so that's part of it. The other factor with milk right now, which is going to keep probably the November-December contracts between 20 and 21, is that our production is actually down. And the reason production is down is because we've been bringing more cows to slaughter. And over the last 9 weeks, the slaughter rate has been over 60,000 head a week, which is a really substantial number. So that's why the production is down. And then even looking at first and second quarters of next year, because demand is strong and we expect production to stay lower, it's keeping that market price between 18 and 19. So for now, prices look to stay firm, but we don't have any reason to see anything go substantially higher or lower.
Only enough time remaining in our segment for the answer to the trivia question that we posed earlier. Georgia is correct. A is the right answer this week.
In our feature segment today, Farmweek's Amy Taylor reports there's more than meets the eye to the 2 women who have served this past year as representatives of state agriculture.
Artists, the 2 leading ladies of Mississippi Rodeo have had an exciting journey over the past year. Miss Rodeo Mississippi, Samantha Golden, and Miss Dixie National Rodeo, Paige Nicholson, have traveled the state and country representing the sport of rodeo and the Dixie National. Since rodeo is derived from farming practices, they say being a rodeo queen is not just about promoting a sport, but about representing the influence agriculture has on our nation. While serving as Mississippi's very own First Ladies of Rodeo, Miss Rodeo Mississippi, Samantha Golden of Meridian, and Miss Dixie National Rodeo, Paige Nicholson of Starkville, are glad to say they have covered a lot of ground in promoting a sport that has such a rich heritage. Since rodeo began in the 1800s, it's developed into a popular form of entertainment for those who enjoy the thrill of bull riding, barrel racing, roping, team pinning, bronc riding, and many more timed events. Paige Nicholson says there are 2 main reasons she loves rodeo.
The first one is the rich heritage of the sport of rodeo and the fact that it's the only sport that's derived from an actual job, and that cowboys used to work on the ranch all day and then get together to show off the skills that they had honed. And the second thing is the people that surround rodeo, whether it's the contestants, the queens, the announcers, even the fans, are all just a special breed of people. Like when people come together for a rodeo, it's like a family. It's my responsibility to be visible at the rodeo, to answer questions for the fans, and also to do a ride-in at the beginning of the rodeo on my horse so that everybody sees me and knows that I'm there and knows that I'm available to them.
Additionally, Nicholson's responsibilities include making television and radio appearances to get the public excited about the Dixie National Rodeo in Jackson, Mississippi. Samantha Golden, Miss Rodeo Mississippi, serves the same roles, except her title also includes competing at the National Rodeo Finals in Las Vegas for Miss Rodeo America. She says rodeo queens help create a new awareness of the link between the sport of rodeo and our nation's agricultural commodities.
We've really seen the impact of agriculture in every area, not just the cattle and horse industry, because it truly is astonishing that only 2% of our country feeds the remaining 98%. I spent the year traveling throughout our country representing our rich agriculture history here, as well as the Western way of life. The one thing about rodeo that I've truly learned is once you think you know a lot, there's a lot more to learn. There's always something else to learn. There's so much facts and trivia and rodeo knowledge, equine science.
In preparing for the national pageant, Golden says it will be important to know everything from the NFR contest agenda to stats on rodeo cowboys and cowgirls. Additionally, the 6-day-long Miss Rodeo America competition will include horsemanship, interview questions, and modeling. Mississippi Commissioner of Agriculture and Commerce, Cindy Hyde-Smith, says she has become a strong supporter of Miss Rodeo and Miss Dixie National since taking office.
Being the Commissioner of Agriculture, I want to support all facets of agriculture. And having the Dixie National Rodeo here on the property at the Mississippi State Fairgrounds, that's part of my job, to get over there and to make sure everything goes smooth, to make sure that it happens. So, it's just a natural fit. We're cattle farmers. That's what we do for a living. And to come in and be able to support a young lady that represents the industry of rodeo is just a delight. So many people aren't even aware that we have a Miss Rodeo Mississippi. And to just get that awareness out there, to get the highlights out there for her and the awareness that, this is what it's about, has been a lot of fun.
In showing her support, the commissioner says it's important to understand the expenses involved with being a rodeo queen. All of the dresses, hats, boots, jewelry, and traveling costs are definitely not cheap. Therefore, Commissioner Hyde-Smith helped host the Buckles and Crowns Dinner Dance fundraiser to help out.
I knew the financial need was, there for any young lady that was attempting this. And so we came up with the idea of doing a dinner dance and involving a lot of the statewide elected officials, a lot of the legislature, and actually got on stage and sang and danced to raise money. And we got our money up front before we started singing.
In response to support from the commissioner and other sponsors, Samantha Golden says she's grateful for what she's learned from Commissioner Hyde-Smith, who she describes as a great leader and role model.
I've spent a lot of time with her, and she embodies the morals and the character that I would want to portray as myself going into the workforce one day. My year as Miss Rodeo Mississippi would not have been the same. I would not have been able to travel and represent our state and our rich culture here if it weren't for the lending hand that everybody has given me. Ralph Morgan and Miss Cindy Hyde-Smith have truly gotten behind me this year and made sure that I've had an impactful and important year. Before this year, I had not had many speaking obligations, and it's grown my confidence as well as being able to speak, and my morals have even grown being around so many important people that are so willing and eager to help you. It makes you become a better person.
Furthermore, Golden says the skills she acquired, like self-presentation, responsibility, and time management as a student at Mississippi State University, will stick with her in the future.
Whether you realize it or not, somebody is watching you and looking up to you. So making sure that you always have a smile on your face, you're well-spoken, you're presentable, as well as having a caring heart and a lending hand. Wasted time is the only thing you can't recycle. So I've really taken advantage of that statement and applied it this year with my studies, as well as the Miss Rodeo Mississippi Association.
Golden says her career ambition is to become a spokesperson in the rodeo industry or work for a stock contractor. As for Paige Nicholson, she plans to attend graduate school after obtaining her agricultural information sciences degree from MSU. Nicholson says serving as Miss Dixie National Rodeo Mississippi has created many opportunities, and she encourages anyone interested in rodeo to consider participating.
If you have any type of passion for the sport of rodeo and you think that you would enjoy representing the Dixie National Rodeo as a rodeo queen, try it. Even if you have never been in a pageant before in your life, because there's not one person who is a perfect rodeo queen, and there's not one stereotype that we try to follow. If you have a passion for the sport of rodeo, you can do this in your own way and make the Dixie National proud to have you as their leading lady.
As she continues honing her horsemanship skills at Covered K Arena, owned by David and Sheila Kirkman, Nicholson says she looks forward to seeing what the future holds. The two rodeo queens say they will never forget the support they've received from family, friends, generous leaders, sponsors, and role models. After making an excellent mark in 2012 as Mississippi's first Ladies of Rodeo, you might say whoever follows in their footsteps will have big boots to fill. I'm Amy Taylor, reporting. If you are interested in more information on Samantha Golden and Paige Nicholson, you can watch this story again on our website, Facebook page, or YouTube. Our website is farmweek.msucares.com.
Well, Amy, what was one of the things they told you that you didn't expect when you were talking to them?
I kind of wasn't expecting them to say that they actually have a very, very difficult exam that they have to take that involves the NFR. So they have to know about the cowboys, the cowgirls, their history, the history of rodeo itself, and the agenda, to constantly know what's going on, and that's a lot of information.
And of course, you said they had to do a lot of traveling.
Right, they have to do a lot of traveling, and Samantha actually had to take all of her exams a week early so that she could go to the national competition, Miss Rodeo America, at the beginning of December in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. So it's quite a commitment.
It's a huge commitment, but of course she says it's worth it, and this is right in line with what she wants to do for a living. So,
well, I would think you would definitely have to get your skills, your people skills. It would improve them tremendously because you're definitely meeting a lot of people.
That's right, and she says that she has had that experience.
And you said too, I think you said Paige was Miss Maroon and White?
She did. She got that this year, and she's really excited about that. So she's a really busy girl.
I was going to say, she's having to fulfill all those duties, but
that's right.
But the kind of thing that rounds their character out for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, we are at the end of Farm Week for this week. On our next show, most of us try to get rid of insects, but some of us try to grow them.
Mississippi State University hosts an annual course that attracts participants from all across the world. The Insect Rearing Workshop helps researchers trying to grow insects needed for their studies.
In southern gardening, bougainvillea. This tropical-looking plant produces great blooms, especially in baskets. Now, if you'd like further information on a Farm Week story or want to suggest a story to us, you need to get in touch. Now, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube. Our mailing address, should you try that, P.O. Box 9625, Mississippi State, Mississippi 39762. That's 9625, Mississippi State, Mississippi 39762. Call us on the phone, 662-325-2262. You can also get in touch with us through your county office of the Mississippi State University Extension Service. For the rest of the Farm Week crew, I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.